All right, y'all, we're taking a look at this boudoir photography business today. Gonna see if it has BSS for either of these two Google searches. So we're back here in the GBC universe, taking declining boudoir photographers to the number one boudoir photographer in their city. As always, our North Star is FSIC, full spectrum intent capture. More about that, pinned video, homepage, whatever. And that's because FSIC explains why all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. So it's our full intent ladder. High intent over on the left, low intent over on the right. So for Ryzen, we're probably bringing in peeps from this entire intent ladder, high to low intent, making them aware of us, bringing them into us. And if we're falling, then we're missing some chunks of people somewhere. So again, F6 explains why all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. That's why it's our North Star. So here we talk about BSS, boudoir search sameness. Well, we'll get into that. That's all about over on the left side, the highest intent peeps, people searching for boudoir photo shoots in our city right now across social search on social media, and on Google. Then over on the right, the lowest intent peeps, that's where we deal with our other brand, Boudoir FB Ad Doctor, our other profiles. We talk about BLCS, and right now we only work with boudoir photographers running more than 10 grand per month in boudoir Facebook ads. And Facebook ads, I was going to the lowest intent people, which is actually the highest volume of people in that ever exist in one time in a city. All right, so BSS is boudoir search sameness. That's when a boudoir photographer has either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. So 0 slots, I mean, dude, we're dead because we already know approximately 80% of all Google searches only stay on page 1. They don't even make it to page 2. So this is the bulk of the market, approximately 80%. And we actually, this is the cohort we care about. The other 20%, I mean, they're clicking off to page 10, you know, pages 1 through 10, so we don't care about them. We care about being visible, most visible to the 80% that never leave page 1. So 0 slot, if we're on page 2, basically dead, 80% won't even find us. For our 1 slot, we're essentially dead as well, because we look the same as every other boudoir photographer who also has 1 slot on page 1, and there's going to be 9 others, or at least there's 10 organic slots. So, and any buyer goes to page 1, Google's literally just going to click open everyone's, contact everyone, and basically they ain't even going to hit page 2. So we're really being compared against everyone on page 1 of Google search. And we also know that 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google is not normal. It's extremely common. Everyone accepts it as normal, but it's not normal. It's actually the symptom of 2 deeper root causes. Those 2 deeper root causes are one everyone knows about, which is market saturation, and 2, one basically nobody knows about, which is the false belief of page 1 equality. So market saturation, peeps know that. It's when someone gets a new iPhone, and we see them throw up basically throw up a Google My Business profile, a website saying they now shoot boudoir, or they get a new camera, they post in the mom group saying they now do boudoir. And so that's market saturation. Also, a big tsunami of this came when COVID hit. People lost their jobs. People still needed to earn money. A ton of boudoir photographers entered the marketplace, made it way more competitive. Page 1 on Google to get clients, market saturation, force people out. That normally happens after people get relegated to page 2 or deeper. But the most important thing here is the false belief of page 1 equality. This is the number one killer of boudoir photography businesses, is believing that every boudoir photographer gets, like 0 or 1 slots on page 1 on Google. And, if my website was there, I was on page 1, but then market saturation happened, it pushed me to page 2. Well, that's simply how it works. All right, I'm at 0 slots on page 1 now, and I'm at 1 slot on page 2. That's simply how it is. Hopefully, the new people delete their website, so maybe I can get back on page 1. Because right now I'm invisible. Only 20% of people are even coming to page 2. But no, that's totally false. It's a false belief because Google actually gives as many page 1 slots as one wants to put in the effort to acquire. And I know that because I went from 0 out of 10 slots to 9 out of 10 slots page 1 on Google search in 10 days using this new solution we've developed. So we first got to break out of the mental trap, kind of mental cage. We need to understand that page 1 equality is a false belief. That is just, we get 0 1 slots, and that's how it is. That's how it is for every boudoir photographer. False, incorrect. And this goes for social search as well. We can take as many slots as we want, put in the effort to acquire. Now, we also know that a boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness is a disappearing boudoir photographer, a DBP. And that's because, if we're relegated to page 2 of search on social networks or on Google, we already know approximately 80% of searchers are never seeing us, which means we're disappearing fast. And it's kind of a canary in the coal mine. If we have BSS, we're a disappearing boudoir photographer, which means you know the countdown clock is on to when our boudoir photography entire business disappears as well. So we're building up our micro universe here. Disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness caused by market saturation and the false belief of page one equality. But if we break through that false belief of page one equality, uh, see it for what it is, that it's false, that it's not true, it's not real, it's made up, we can actually have a chance to use our new solution because we know that BSS is treated with social search saturation, aka our S-cubed methodology that we invented. And again, this is what I use to go from 0 out of 10 slots on page one Google search to 9 out of 10 slots page one Google search in 10 days. So this works by exactly what it says. We saturate the social search with the highest intent keywords. And this actually, as we do that more and more and more, this flows. It's kind of like all the little rivers, that flow into the Amazon. As we saturate social search more and more and more and more for the highest intent keywords, that eventually flows on down into Google, where we rank in page one, which is still where it's like 89, 90% of search happens still on Google. And that is our S-cubed methodology. Special thing about this, dude, S-cubed methodology is the only thing that I've seen that can successfully fight against market saturation, that we can implement fast. The only other second option I've seen that we cannot implement fast is having a brand. That takes years, maybe even decades. But S-cubed methodology, we'll be seeing results way, way, way quicker than that. And it's the only thing that I've seen that can successfully fight against market saturation. Because imagine if we're in Wichita, Kansas, there's a million boudoir photographers. We're one of them. Everyone's got a website. Everyone's trying to rank on page one on Google. But if we S-cubed methodology hard enough, we saturate social search to all our competitors. Let's say we take the first 300 slots in social search on all the platforms, and all our competitors are relegated to, the slot 301 or after. Same on Google, which means it's 10 organic slots per Google page. So that means 30 pages we tick up. Gotta go to page 31 to find our competitor. Is our business growing, treading water, or declining in a marketplace with 1 million boudoir photographers where we dominate the first 300 search results on all platforms? Obviously, ours is growing. We're the fastest growing business. Even if there's 900, there's 999,999 other boudoir photographers competing against us. So that's just if we, turbo max out S-cube methodology. And so again, it essentially kind of makes it like market saturation no longer matters because we're kicking everyone off page one. That's the most important thing because we know approximately 80% of Google searchers never go to page two. So we care about the bulk of the market here, which means the minimum, we got to kick as many people off page one as possible. Now, once we treat our BSS with S-cubed methodology, we have page one visibility. So we can finally be seen on page one, not look like everyone else. And a bonus of this is every new slot we take on page one, we are kicking a competing boudoir photographer off page one, effectively making them invisible. And as a result, they're on page two. They're effectively invisible, man, because only 1 out of 5 Google searches will ever find them. I mean, they're disappearing boudoir photographer. Their boudoir photography business will disappear soon enough. It's kind of a bonus of X cubed and S cubed. And this is the same thing on social networks as well, but kind of focusing more clearly on Google right now. Now, page one visibility activates boudoir search visibility for us. So this means we don't have 0 slots on Google, page one on Google. We don't have 1 slot on page one on Google. And ideally, we don't even have 2 slots on page one on Google. Our GBC minimum we want to hit is 3 out of 10 page one slots on Google for local search and city search. Because at 3 out of 10 slots, we've kicked off 2 out of 3 peeps from page one instantaneously. Also, everyone else will probably only have 1 slot. So we're 3v1 again against them. People are going to say, oh, why is Google recommending this person so much? They'll most likely be more inclined to click on us instead of any of the others. And there's a tiny minuscule chance someone else may have 2 slots, but our 3 slots will still beat them. We'll be seen as more prominent than them. So we got it. That activates boudoir search visibility for us. And a boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility is a visible boudoir photographer. So we got to become visible. That's the way we can guarantee we're not disappearing. So this is our micro universe here. We got disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness. It's caused by market saturation and the false belief of page one equality. And we now have a solution, S-cubed methodology, which we invented. We achieve page one visibility, and we become a visible boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility. So some full micro universe. And now some results of me using um, S-cubed methodology because I invented it. So I want to rank for term BLCS boudoir. So we go down organic. Let's go to the organic slot. So we got organic slot 1, Instagram, me. Slot 2, me. Slot 3, me. Slot 4, me. Slot 5, me. Slot 6, me. Slot 7, me. Slot 8, me. And slot 10 is me. So that's what I did. I went from 0 out of 10 slots to 9 out of 10 slots. Page 1 of Google in 10 days. Kicked out everyone else here. I took it over. And if someone searches my keyword BLCS boudoir here, who are they clicking on? They probably won't even need to scroll past number 5. They're like, okay, it's all the same dude. I don't need to scroll past position 5. I'm simply gonna click on his organic search result. So this is the power of SQ's methodology for the keyword that I wanted to rank for. So now we're here to the main event, the main course. Gonna see if this boudoir photographer has BSS for either of these Google searches, so local search and a city search. So let's see. So first look in Gretna, Nebraska, and we got, all right, so we're going to the organic search. So we got 1. Yeah, we got 2. Well, we don't have the word boudoir here, so we don't count that. Slot 3 here, we got boudoir, that counts as 2. Micro photography. Okay, we'll count the 2 without the boudoir. We'll count that as 1. So we got 3 out of 10 slots. Here we go. 4 out of 10 slots. Here's a boudoir. Here's a one that has boudoir on it, and boudoir right there. 5. And then we got and then let's see. Looks like we got 6 here actually. So we got 6 out of 10 for local search. So this is super amazing. And all right, so local search is perfect. And now we're going to go to city search, Omaha, Nebraska. So we're going to go down to the organic. Let's see how many we got local search as well. First for the city search. So we got, all right, we got, nope, no. All right, so it looks like, all right, dude, we're literally pulling in 0 peeps from Omaha. So we literally got 0 out of 10. So we definitely got BSS for the second search, the city search. But so Gretna, no BSS. We actually hit the GBC minimum, at least 3 out of 10. And Omaha, Nebraska, we're not hitting the, we do have BSS and we're not hitting the GBC minimum of 3 out of 10. So if you are a disappearing boudoir photographer, you've got boudoir search sameness, you search locally, and do local search and a city search for the high intent keywords. And you got boudoir search sameness. And you've realized now that page 1 equality is a false belief, and now we have a methodology to take as many page 1 slots as we want, depending on how much effort we want to put in. And we actually, we see the market saturation, and we see what AI is doing to people's jobs. And as a result, we know that as AI takes more and more people's jobs, the amount of boudoir photographers over time is actually going to increase. Because what happened during COVID? Lots of people lost their jobs, put themselves out there as boudoir photographers, got their website, got their Facebook page, got the Google My Business profile, like a whole big, deluge of boudoir photographers entered the market, pushing a ton of people off page 1 that have been there for a while. And so you're saying, okay, AI is going to take more people's jobs. It's going to have way more boudoir photographers entering the market. We need to position ourselves, defend our territory, and actually get more territory on page 1 of Google. So when these boudoir photographers come in, they don't affect our business at all because we'll have so much coverage on page one. They'll be forced to be on page 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever. And we already know approximately 80% of Google searches never even go to page 2. They stay right on page 1. So we'll be hitting the bulk of the searchers, and we'll actually be pushing off our current competitors off page 1 as well. And so you're seeing at 3, the SQ methodology is the only way to get you there. And you also see kind of the back-end bonuses of using it, we haven't even talked about yet, which are, when we're ranked for these high intent keywords across all social search, and then that pulls into Google search, it creates like thematic keyword pillars of our brand, our name, our account names, our brand, our website, and it increases the probability. We show up here for AI overview for local and city search, increases that probability. It increases the probability we show up for AI search in all AI search positions or apps like ChatGPT search, Claude search, Perplexity search, Microsoft Copilot search, Gemini search. Kind of, it's a back-end benefit because we're having these thematic keyword pillars all around our brand. Where, last time I used ChatGPT search, asked about boudoir photographers in the city, dude, it brought up 3. That was it. And so, kind of back-end benefits is we're future-proofing the business because more and more people are going to be using AI search and basically kind of dominating social search, flows through to dominating page 1 Google search, which is kind of the canary in the coal mine. If we're increasing the probability, we're ranking on AI search, which would, there's no back end number of how close we are to ranking on it, but all these things that we're doing increases that probability. So we're kind of hitting like 5 different birds with one stone. And also you're noticing that if someone else in your city hops on this first and gets this momentum to all these benefits first, then, well, one, I cannot work with you because current plan is only work with one person per city. And 2, you have to figure out how to do this SQ methodology yourself and all the time to implement it. And you don't even know if you're doing it correctly. So we have our own proprietary methodology. And you'd have to equal our output to maintain against us if we're already working with someone else in the same city. And you'd have to exceed our output to actually make progress on us and all the momentum we would have already made with another boudoir photographer in your current city, to kind of get these thematic keyword pillars attached to our brand. So it's kind of just this big, massive momentum builder for whoever's the first mover boudoir photographer in their city. And we got our final 6 questions here as always. If basically how many slots you think could actually get on page 1 in Google. Remember, this is downstream of already in the top ranked page 1 of social search on all the social search engines. And how many more boudoir clients could that bring for the lifetime of the business, and then how much profit would that generate for the lifetime of the business? And then if someone else went with me first and is it possibly you get kicked off page 1 Google search and get relegated to page 2 or page 3, how much would that increase or decrease the probability to get buyers over your business lifetime? How many buyers do you believe you could lose, and how much lifetime profit could you lose? So if you decide SQ methodology is for you, you definitely want it. This is the thing you've been looking for, waiting for. And shoot me a DM when I open for new patient intake. My DMs are closed right now. Hospital is closed, but when I do open the hospital for new patient intake, shoot me a DM and we will see if you qualify.